Hey, what is going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, I want to talk about Bethesda Game Studios. And more specifically, I want to talk about, is Bethesda Game Studios turning into EA? And what I mean by this is Bethesda Game Studios, the company that creates the Fallout franchise and the Elder Scrolls franchise, are they becoming less of a company focused on how good the game is and the overall quality of the game and the content in the game, and are they becoming a company that is solely focused on things like microtransactions and paid mods? Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is because over the last 3 or 4 days, I have seen a lot of videos popping up in my recommended. I have just basically watched a lot of videos on people saying that the Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout 5, whatever comes from Bethesda Game Studios next is gonna suck because it's just going to be loaded with microtransactions and paid mods. And I've seen a lot of videos like this over the last couple of days. Now keep in mind, these aren't videos from nobodies, these are videos from people with literally 1 million plus subscribers, 350,000 plus subscribers. There are videos with 1 million plus views. And you know, these videos have more likes than dislikes, basically a lot of people agreeing with what these people in person have to say. And it's kind of mind-boggling to me, because I've been playing, you know, Bethesda Game Studios games forever, and I did not notice this issue. I did not know that there was this big community that plays Bethesda Game Studios games that think that the next Fallout, Fallout 5, or the next Elder Scrolls, the Elder Scrolls 6, or whatever game Bethesda Game Studios releases next is gonna suck due to paid mods and microtransactions. I've seen so many videos over the past couple of days essentially saying that whatever Bethesda Game Studios releases next, whether that be Fallout 5, the Elder Scrolls 6, or whatever other title they're gonna release, is gonna suck due to paid mods and microtransactions. And like I said, some of these videos have 1 million plus views with more likes than dislikes. And to be honest, guys, this is absolutely crazy, because I never knew that there was such a large community, or such a large part of the community that plays Bethesda Game Studios games, that have this concern. And in this video, I kind of wanted to address or talk about that concern, if you will, in a way. And a lot of people seem to think that Bethesda Game Studios, the company we all know and love, the company that produces the awesome, amazing, kick-ass open world games which we all enjoy, it seems a lot of people think that those games from Bethesda Game Studios are going to be a thing of the past, and Bethesda Game Studios is going to become more like EA, focused on paid mods and microtransactions and stuff like that, which I don't think is going to happen. And to be honest, guys, to answer the question, is Bethesda Game Studios becoming like EA? In my opinion, I don't think so, in no way, shape, or form. Now guys, let's start talking about a few reasons I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is becoming like EA, or one of the companies that focuses mainly on microtransactions. So the first reason I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is gonna become like EA and add microtransactions and all this crazy stuff to their next game is because they haven't in the past. If they had planned on doing it, they would have done it a long time ago. They would have added microtransactions a very long time ago. And honestly, I don't see Bethesda Game Studios becoming one of those companies that's going to add microtransactions to a single player game. I mean, sure, there might be some, like with Assassin's Creed Origins, where you could buy skins for your character and stuff like that, and I really don't care about that stuff. As long as it doesn't affect the content in game, I'm fine with it. If it's skins, cosmetic, so be it. But I hope that doesn't happen in the next game, whatever comes from Bethesda Game Studios. And to be honest, I don't think it is. I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is gonna become one of those companies that solely focuses on paid mods or microtransactions. I honestly don't think this. A lot of people seem to think this about Bethesda Game Studios because they introduced Creation Club not too long ago, and it got a lot of hate. A lot of people, you know, were scared that Bethesda Game Studios was going down the same road EA has kind of gone down recently, where they just focused on microtransactions and not a single player game or a game in general. They're focused on more microtransactions and loot boxes than anything. And that all kind of stuff, all the people saying that Bethesda Game Studios' next game is going to be loaded with microtransactions and paid mods, all of that kind of stems from Creation Club. And I've noticed that a lot, kind of a reoccurring pattern in the videos I've been watching over the last couple of days, saying that Bethesda Game Studios' next game, whatever it is going to suck due to microtransactions and paid mods. A lot of that stems from Creation Club, which I understand. And I understand is a huge concern, because when Bethesda Game Studios introduced paid mods, at first, I thought it was a bad sign as well. I was like, you know what? This sucks. They're going to become one of those companies that focuses on paid mods, microtransactions, and the next title's going to suck. However, as we move further and further away from Creation Club, and kind of since its release, I noticed that Bethesda Game Studios is not becoming one of those companies. One, because they haven't added microtransactions yet in any of their games, besides the paid mods, and I think that they're not going to add microtransactions in their next game, or they're going to have microtransactions in their next game. They haven't tweeted, they haven't said anything about it, but they usually never say anything about their next game. But I highly doubt a game from Bethesda Game Studios, whatever comes out next, is going to be loaded with microtransactions. And that's just my opinion. I honestly don't see Bethesda Game Studios loading up one of their games with microtransactions. I just can't see it. And I've been playing Bethesda Game Studios games for a long time. But I could be wrong. Maybe they might, but I highly doubt they will. Another reason I don't think they're going to start focusing on microtransactions and all this stuff is because recently Bethesda Softworks kind of launched that Save Single Player campaign, which is essentially ripping on EA for focusing on microtransactions and loot boxes. So since they launched that single player thing and Save Single Player, I honestly don't think that they're gonna start focusing on that, because they just ripped on a company and they just made fun of a company for doing that exact thing. And I highly doubt one of their biggest basically their in-house game developer, Bethesda Game Studios, would go ahead and turn around and do that. I highly doubt that's going to happen. I mean, they just made fun of a developer for doing it. A couple of companies ripped on EA recently at the Game Awards, saying that you guys suck, you shouldn't have focused on microtransactions because microtransactions blow, you shouldn't have focused on loot boxes because loot boxes blow. And I highly doubt Bethesda Game Studios would then turn around and do that thing they just made fun of another company for doing. So that's another reason I think Bethesda Game Studios won't become like EA. A third one is, to be honest, is just faith. I have faith in Bethesda Game Studios to make a great game. Sure, I wasn't happy with all the mods in Fallout 4, I wasn't happy with Creation Club. I'm not gonna lie, the mods sucked in it. You could get mods from outside sources. But I made a video giving my opinion on Creation Club, and it's on my channel. If you guys want to go watch it, go watch it. I essentially say that Creation Club wasn't a completely bad thing. It might be useful for people who don't know how to download mods, or who are uncomfortable from downloading from outside sources, And I talk about Creation Club and how it kind of wasn't an all bad thing. But then again, I also give my kind of doubts about it and stuff like that. And to be honest, guys, I have a lot of faith in Bethesda Game Studios. I don't think that they are going to become one of those companies that just starts focusing on microtransactions and paid mods. But I could be wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I just have too much faith in Bethesda Game Studios. Maybe I've just fallen in love with their games. Maybe I've appreciated them too much. And maybe, it's just too good to be true. Maybe their next game will be loaded with microtransactions. Maybe their next game will be like EA, but I don't think it will, because we haven't seen it in the past from them. There are no signs of it actually happening. Creation Club was kind of a thing Bethesda Game Studios created, kind of a safe way for mods to be played. And that was kind of their initiative, was a safe way for mods to be played. And I think a lot of people thought of it as paid mods rather than a safe way to download mods that would work with your game and wouldn't damage your game in any way, shape, or form. Like, literally zero chance. I think a lot of people overlooked that and kind of, just thought, oh, microtransactions, paid mods. I think a lot of people overlooked the fact that it was more of safe mods than paid mods, which kind of is unfortunate, because a lot of these videos that I've been seeing, like I said, over the last 3 or 4 days, talking about how Bethesda Game Studios' next game's gonna suck, be filled with microtransactions and paid mods, a lot of that has stemmed from Creation Club. But yeah, I have a lot of faith in the Bethesda game studios. Maybe I have too much faith in them. Maybe I've been playing their games for too long. Maybe I like them too much. Maybe I fall in love with their games and I don't want to talk bad about them. But to be honest, I don't see it happening from Bethesda Game Studios. I mean, they haven't done it in the past. They just, made fun of a company for doing paid mods and loot boxes. Not paid mods, but they made fun of a company for doing loot boxes and microtransactions. And I highly doubt they would turn around and do the same thing. And I honestly, I just have faith in them. They've never disappointed me. Sure, some of the mods didn't mean up to my expectations. Some of the DLC in Fallout 4 didn't mean up to my expectations. But I highly doubt whatever they were going to release next is going to be filled with microtransactions and, basically paid microtransactions and stuff like that. I don't think their next game is going to be ruined by microtransactions and paid mods. I think it's going to be classic Bethesda Game Studios game, awesome, amazing, and kick-ass as usual, and I don't think we will see microtransactions in it. In fact, I think Bethesda Game Studios got so much hate that we probably won't even see Creation Club in their next game. So yeah, I really don't see Bethesda Game Studios becoming like EA. I really don't see Bethesda Game Studios starting to focus on microtransactions and paid mods, like a lot of people are worried about. I really don't see Bethesda Game Studios doing that. One, they haven't done it in the past, and two, they just made fun of a company for doing it, and I highly doubt they would turn around themselves and start doing it. But who knows, to be honest, at this point. There's a lot of big video game companies which I loved over the past couple of years, which I have seen start focusing on loot boxes and microtransactions, and maybe Bethesda Game Studios will be one of those in a year or two, but honestly, who knows? But guys, at the end of the day, I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is becoming like EA. I don't think they're becoming one of those companies that focuses on microtransactions and paid content and stuff like that, I think they're going to be the company we all know and love come next game, whatever that is, whether that be the Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5. I think the next game from them is going to be incredible and awesome. But like I said, who knows? Like I said, a lot of my favorite game developers and a lot of my favorite game makers have become like that over the past couple of years. They have started focusing on loot boxes and microtransactions and less about the quality and content of the game. And that kind of makes me disappointed. But I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is going to do that. I've already given you guys my reasons why. Do you guys think Bethesda Game Studios is becoming like EA? Do you guys think Bethesda Game Studios is going to stop focusing on the quality and content of their games and just load up their next game with microtransactions and paid mods? What do you guys think? I've seen a lot of these videos with 1 million plus views, with people with 1 million plus subscribers talking and hating basically essentially on Bethesda Game Studios, saying that their next game is going to suck and be terrible due to paid mods and microtransactions. And I've been seeing a lot of this lately, and to be honest, I don't understand why, and I don't think Bethesda Game Studios is becoming like EA or a company that focuses on microtransactions and paid mods. I don't think their next game is going to be terrible, whatever it is, whether it be Fallout 5 or the Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think it's going to suck due to paid mods and microtransactions. But like I said, a lot of my favorite game developers recently have started focusing on paid mods and microtransactions. Maybe I'm wrong about Bethesda Game Studios, but I don't think I am. I think Bethesda Game Studios is going to stay that same company we all know and love that produces awesome kick-ass video games with the good DLCs. I don't think they're going to become like EA and start focusing on microtransactions and paid mods. But like I said, what do you guys think? Leave it in the comment section below. I'm just one person. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, as it really does help the channel grow. Anyways, I love each and every single one of you. I hope to see you guys right back here tomorrow. And remember to stay freaky.